Star Wars games are so influential. Force Unleashed, Super Star Wars, Rogue Squadron, this breadth of stories. Jedi Fallen Order, Battlefront, Jedi Survivor, and Republic Commando.
Oh my gosh.
Those games are so good.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. And hey, this is a clip from the full episode, which you can check out in the description or on the channel. Now, back to the clip.
The thing that I remember the most were the video games.
I can remember putting in Star Wars Racer for the first time and just being blown away. I mean, this is amazing. Look at these graphics. We're flying through Tatooine. What? Oh man, it was such a good time.
There was a dark period of new modern Star Wars. Obviously, everyone was really scared when EA got the exclusive license. You know, we got 3 games over the course of a decade. Those are great games, but I think we all wanted the highs of like the early 2000s with Star Wars, where it seemed like we'd get 2 Star Wars games a year, and that was awesome.
It's kind of a way to like stretch out Star Wars. Like we were just always able to get that little kick of Star Wars that we needed.
I think this is the year that officially we get the Star Wars license officially broadened. Obviously, they made the announcements with like Ubisoft, and they made the announcements of the KOTOR remake, and that was awesome. Now we have this much broader universe that we can work with. And now they're pushing things forward with like Battlefront 2's campaign influenced the Force visions of The Last Jedi, where we get the back and forths. That came directly from Battlefront 2's campaign. Fun fact, we had producer on Battlefront 2015, Paul Castellan, on the podcast, and he dropped this big bomb is, even down to Battlefront 2015, that influenced the look of how electricity works in Rogue One, which is just such a fun, crazy thing to think about. That's kind of the thing that really spawned this discussion today. Star Wars games are so influential. Star Wars 1313, there was the oh man, Star Wars 1313. That's like my dream game. That would have been so awesome. Fun fact on that too, in Jason Schreier's book, Blood, Sweat, and Pixels, he does a whole chapter on it. George Lucas historically was like, oh, video games, we don't know. Basically, he put them in this building, they didn't go over there. But the thing was, anytime Lucas did show up, you had all of the people at LucasArts that hid everything. The Force Unleashed crew, if they heard him walking down the hallways, would wrap up all of their concept art, roll it up, hide it in their jackets, and then walk out of the room they had to meet again. Because they knew if George Lucas saw that, he'd be like, it needs to be Boba Fett. And that's what happened to 1313. Is he came in there one day and they weren't quick enough. And that is the story of how they put a demo together on this game that originally wasn't Boba Fett, but did eventually get canceled. And then that kind of tied into the Coruscant TV show that they were going to do, which is all around bounty hunters. That was around the same time period where George Lucas is like, I've got this idea, and everything needs to be about Boba Fett, because this TV show's about Boba Fett. If we can tie this together, we can tie everything together.
Oh my gosh.
We also have a shared love of the Jedi Knight series and Republic Commando. Those games are so good.
This is like no game that I have ever seen or ever played. I had never heard of the Commando unit at all, so I was like, this is so cool. It was the birth of like the opening up of what Star Wars could be.
So there's a lot of those different pieces that we can play with. And Andor, I think, is one of the biggest places, surprisingly so. You got Tony Gilroy, who is playing around with these different experiences, and then he gave the art department the entire freedom to do whatever the heck they wanted to. They've got the Relic art store, and they put stuff from like the armor of Starkiller. He said, yeah, I had nothing to do with that. Something that's like blink and you'll miss it. You have the very expensive, was it like 60,000 credit crystal that they're given. Where is that from? Because they mention that it's the Rakatan Empire, and it came from Knights of the Old Republic. What a great game. Rakatan Empire is huge. It is outside in its own universe, its own galaxy, and it has this breadth of stories, which also ties into Dawn of the Jedi. So we've got a mention of the Rakatan Empire, which is KOTOR, which goes much further back in time.
Oh yeah, like way back.
And now we're getting 25,000 years before the Old Republic, I believe. So we're getting even further back. And then we see a mention of a Star Forge as well. And that led us to be like, This could be really fascinating.
Yeah, we could be seeing some pretty serious tie-ins.
Okay, this is interesting. This is a cool theory that we've got going here. And it came from a video game. And switching gears, we've got SWTOR. Where does this get mentioned? Well, video games and Andor, there's a lot there. They mention, I think, 2 or 3 different Star Wars planets that are all prison planets. And 1 to 2 of them are from SWTOR.
Oh,
We're
fascinating.
introduced in SWTOR. And then the third thing I'll mention when it comes to Andor, we have the Gears of War creator and writer who is joining the team to help write a few of the episodes of Andor Season 2, which is just wild to think about. And it makes a lot of sense.
So I'm kind of surprised they haven't done it sooner, like to have these game developers, game story makers in on the TV or even movies.
Mandalorian is a good example of that too.
That's true.
I mean, the first season's the best example of this because it feels like probably what Star Wars 1313 would have been, where you're a Mandalorian and you're going through this universe and you're talking to these people, you get the puck and it tells you where you need to go. And then you find out that a bunch of other people also got that puck.
Yep.
And you need to kill them. And there's also pirates. Then the Jawas steal your vehicle, so you have to go make a new one, rebuild it, get all the different parts. Like, that sounds like a pretty fun video game, right?
Yeah, I'd be down.
Yeah.
Let's have that.
Yeah, give it to me.
I think the point about the connectivity that we're seeing a lot more in Star Wars is really key,
Yeah.
especially with the games that are coming and the games that we have seen. There's so much there that they can pull from.
Yes.
I think we're going to see a lot more as we continue on.